Hey guys, welcome to my house, to another episode of Badass Unscripted. Hey, what do you think about trophies for all? Do we give them out? Do we not give them out? I'll get to how this applies to Agile in a moment. Let's talk about where this comes from. I think we tend to blame modern parents, like stuff that's happened in the last decade or two, for the current wave of giving a trophy for just showing up. We tend to want to blame people who are protecting, especially kids, from the negative consequences of failure, the mental repercussions, the negative associations of failure, by saying, well, even if you lose, you win. I don't agree with that. I think either you win or you learn. You don't lose. I don't say it that way to avoid the negative meaning of the word lose. You still lost. We all know you lost. But when you lose, there's a tremendous learning opportunity within, so you can't beat yourself up endlessly about the failure. Now, I don't know the two things. I don't know that this works, number one, and number two, we've been doing this for a long time. So let's stop blaming, this generation or the generation just previously for giving too many hugs, because really they're not the problem. There's human nature. Especially when you deal with kids, we don't want them to feel bad. I remember being young, going to school, and this is going back decades now. And they had this thing you did in the Ontario school system where in order to try to guarantee or measure fitness, at the youth level, they would run these timed trials, and either you hit a certain number of reps or you hit a certain time, and they had all these shades of excellence, and they summed up your performance across a bunch of different categories, and they gave you an award at the end of the day. And the award was either an excellence award, or then they went through gold, silver, bronze, and then they had a pin for just showing up. Now, I'm not going to lie, when I was younger, I got the pin for just showing up a couple times. Now, to be fair, I was robbed. The jury was rigged. I'm kidding you. The reason why I failed is simple. I didn't train. Anytime you lose in life, anytime you don't win, is because you failed to train. And even if you do train, sometimes you fail anyway. And that sucks. It stings. But I'm going to tell you, from an insider's perspective, when you get the participation pin, you know damn well you didn't win. So I coach kids baseball. And, this year we failed to hit the championship again, and they give out these little, these diminished versions of the main trophy. And every kid on that team knows that they didn't win, the award is bullshit, and they don't want it. They don't want it because it sucks to lose. And the trophy does nothing to make you feel any better. But even if it did make you feel better, the truth is this. Back me up. If you go to a job interview and you don't get the job, there's no participation prize. They don't give you a quarter of a salary just because you had the decency to show up. You don't get the job, you don't get the job. And if that job was important to you, too bad, you missed your chance. Now, you can say the jury was rigged or the selection process was unfair if you want to. I don't even believe in that. I don't believe in making excuses. I think that no matter what the outcome, there's an element of you're the victor, good for you, you got the dream job, or you're about to get schooled. So that next time you can win. You know what's so interesting is that when they hand out those garbage trophies, I mentioned that there's a feeling of most of the kids just know this is BS. Like, I don't want this thing, it's meaningless. But there are some kids that are perfectly comfortable with it. And that's the problem, is that handing out a trophy at that point gives you that dopamine hit and allows us to celebrate the mediocre. I think that there's times in life, guys, where, again, in the real world, coming in second is the same thing as coming in last. And we owe it to ourselves to spend the time to reflect, to notice when we're losing, to notice when we're gapped. Because when you screw up as an adult, you let the team down. If you lose the bid or the client deal, that's lost revenue. We just write that off the books. So guess what? If you lose, you owe it to yourself to learn something. So yeah, this one stung a little bit, but that is never going to happen to me again. Imagine if we gave out trophies in that circumstance. I think one thing they got sort of right in the school system when I was coming up is that if you didn't perform in school, you got to do what? You got to do it again. I feel like that's exactly what we need more of. We need to seize failures and losses as a learning opportunity. Let's back up a step. Let's try this over until we learn the required skills, until we're trained up, until we're ready. And then victory becomes inevitable. But if you celebrate any old performance, what do we really learn? That's something to think about because I often struggle with mediocre performance and how that fits into the elite team concept. Do we root it out, kick it out, so that we don't lower the team average? On the flip side, do we remain patient, give lots of hugs, and well-intended but somewhat insincere praise? Or do we help shine a light on people's mistakes, even privately? I mean, you guys know me by now. I'm not about shaming people or being indecent or uncivilized, but don't we owe it to the people that we work with and that we coach to show them where they're struggling and then to give them rails and tools that they can try so that they can improve? I think that's way better than handing out trophies, don't you? Let me know what you think. Guys, you know where to find me, badassagile.com, on Twitter at badass_agile, and on Instagram at badassagile. Thank you, friends, for being true believers, for tuning in week in, week out, from everywhere all over the world. I hear you, I feel you, I love each and every one of you. I'll see you next time, and until then, stay badass.